What's up, you guys? How you doing? Wowee! Budds Creek proved to be a big, historic day if you're in the Star Yamaha camp because Haiden Deegan came through with the goods and came home with the 2024 250 Motocross Championship. The first title for Yamaha since probably Jeremy Martin around 2015 or so. So that was a good ride for Deegan. And Levi Kitchen wins again. Third win in the last four races. RJ Hampshire was also making his motocross debut following an injury at the first round at Pala. And got quite a bit more. And I will mention at least about my 250 rider for the donations this year. But in the meantime, guys, remember, subscribe if you think that I'm worth listening to, or you just like hearing or you feel like hearing some of my points, or if you just want to see some more of my other games. And I will have at least a couple of Press Your Luck episodes this week. But in the meantime, I'm going to get this out of the way first. So remember, guys, subscribe helps the algorithm, helps me out. I want to keep my monetization status. I'm closing in on 11,100 subscribers, and I sure would like to get there sooner rather than later. So with that being said, I'm talking about the 250 class today only. Let's get into this. Here comes my banner. There it is. Levi Kitchen wins again. Haiden Deegan crowned your champ, of course. And congrats to Haiden Deegan. And I have to say, for him to win this title is certainly no short of an accomplishment. This guy deserves it in every sense. Now, I will say, though, he did rattle some feathers, or ruffle some feathers, I should say, and even rattle some cages at Millville when he had kind of acted really petulant, in my view, and said that Chance Hymas was out for him. And I call that to be, and I deem that to be just not cool. Am I taking that back? No, absolutely not, because that's what's on my mind. And do I think that there needs to be more people like him? Yeah, there should. Do I think that there should be other guys do I think that Deegan should have showed a little bit more respect? Yes, I do. But still, if he does what makes Haiden Deegan, then that's what I can live with. You know what? But really, that's what I mean when I say that, you got to show your respect and but you want to say what's on your mind, I'm cool with that. But really, but like I said before, if you're going to go around taking other guys out and saying that this guy's got it out for him, that this guy has it out for, that Deegan's going to say that, oh, this guy's got it out for me. And that's when I kind of questioned some of his morals at all, because, if he took somebody out when nobody clearly did anything to him, when that guy clearly did nothing to him, I would be questioning his morals then. And if he said that guy's got it out for me and it wasn't my fault, I find that to be really, really, god awful. But anyway, back to Budds Creek. That was a track where it was very, very hard to pass on unless you really got creative. And it was a lot like Unadilla, because the only way that you could pass someone is if you were creative. As far as Levi Kitchen is concerned, he didn't have to worry about that at all. I mean, for him to be fighting a sickness at all and to come through with a win, did that surprise me at all? Yes and no. Because then again, Jeremy McGrath actually won the Indianapolis race in 2000 in Supercross, and he didn't even ride from the main event at Houston the week before until the night's racing at Indianapolis. And so am I saying that Levi Kitchen didn't get any riding in? No. Do I think he did well? Yes, I do. And for Kitchen to win this one with the 3-1, obviously he had some luck with Haiden Deegan leading coast to coast in the first moto and getting a bad start in Moto 2. But I think at that point, Deegan didn't really care. But you know what? 10 years from now, I think he might regret that. Because I know David Bailey was talking about Mike Brown letting Ricky Carmichael buy at Steel City 01, and maybe saying that 10 years from now that he would regret that. I have a feeling that Deegan might show a little regret off of letting that overall get away, because he finished 10th in the second moto. Levi Kitchen won the second moto, but Tom Vialle had to pretty much win the second moto to save the overall, having finished second in the first moto. But Tom Vialle, like I said in my past video, his motocross season has been pretty much a bust. And I think he's just looking forward to 2025 in the 250 class and maybe moving to the 450 class in motocross, or perhaps in 2026. Because as of right now, Tom Vialle has kind of been disappointing me, especially when I picked him to win the motocross title. I probably would have had Deegan for second, but I have to admit, in the back of my mind, Deegan was going to win this title. But then again, what do I know? But still, congrats to Deegan. I think that he should defend that title. And of course, he has said in the presser that he will not go to 450 until he wins a Supercross title. I agree with that. You need to take the time to perfect your skill and perhaps even clear out that mantle, or perhaps even kind of fill that void, so to speak. When Adam Cianciarulo won the 2019 250 motocross title, he went straight to the 450 class for 2020. He didn't even bother to go for a 250 Supercross title. And I kind of thought that was kind of a dumb move. But for AC, to each his own. You know what? That's just what I feel. But for Deegan to say that he's not going to ride a 450 until he wins a Supercross title in the 250s is a very smart move, especially considering how limited the rides are for the 450 class. Because if Deegan was going to go to 450 for Star Yamaha, then that would mean that either Cooper Webb or Eli Telmack would have to pack their bags, or they're going to have to find a budget. But it kind of saddens me quite a bit. And I know I mentioned this before, but if Deegan went for a 450 ride for 2025, presumably, and I say presumably boldly, and I say it in bold, presumably I should say, if Haiden Deegan went for a 450 contract for 2025, Yamaha would have to scrap up a whole new budget for him, because it really saddens me to the point where sponsorship is so cutthroat these days. It's either first place or nothing. And how I long for the days where second or third were acceptable for sponsorship. And I don't know. I mean, I would like to see those sponsorships continue to show for second or third, but I would also like to see them not be so picky. Whoever's running who can sponsor this guy or that guy, I would really like for them to not be so picky and say, oh, you can't be in it, or say, oh, you can't be in it, or this and that. But that's just the way I feel. So anyway, Levi Kitchen, third win in the last 4 races. You take Washougal off the list, and that's 3 wins in a row for Levi Kitchen. And he's already got a ride for next year. He is staying with the Pro Circuit Kawasaki team, and so is Cameron McAdoo. Seth Hamaker, I'm pretty sure he will be there too. And like I said in the last video, I am glad that Pro Circuit didn't overlook Ty Masterpool's rides, because he's signed and ready to go for 2025. The unfortunate part is Max Volan is the one who's left out. I hope that he can find another home, because that guy has a lot of potential. But to see him on the sideline since January because of that dislocated hip tells me that injury was a lot more serious than they thought. Unless, of course, Mitch Payton decides to give Max Volan a second chance. But as of right now, it doesn't really look that way. Now, I haven't heard anything about Max Volan. In fact, he hasn't even been discussed at all. I don't know if the bench guys like Weege and Jason Thomas have talked about Max Volan at all, or even Steve Mathis or anybody else. But if I'm Pro Circuit Kawasaki right now, I got no problem keeping Max Volan myself. But the problem is there is only so many rides available. And unless Max finds a good home, maybe he might go to or maybe the Monster Energy Kawasaki team might find a budget for a 250 rider, or perhaps the Suzuki team could fund a factory team with Max Volan under there if they have the budget, of course. Because Honda, I think, is going to stay the same with Chance Hymas and Joe Shimoda. Or perhaps maybe Triumph or Beta could be looking at Max Volan. But then again, I don't think their bikes have really been proven to be front runners. Of course, they have to find the right guy, and Max Volan could be one of those guys. Now, obviously, Pro Circuit seemed to be a good fit. But after Volan went down with that dislocated hip, we never heard from him again, which got me scratching my head too. Now, as far as the donations are concerned, my money's going on Haiden Deegan if he wants to go. I got no problem with Chance Hymas going if Levi Kitchen raises his hand, or perhaps Justin Cooper will be willing to ride a 250F again for this donations. But as far as the 450 class is concerned, this is the only thing I'm going to say about it, because I'm going to have another video posted about it on Wednesday. So the way that, but as far as the 450 class is concerned, my bet would be that it's going to be both KTM dudes in Chase Sexton and Aaron Plessinger. Although I would like to think that if other guys like Malcolm Stewart or perhaps Jason Anderson might raise their hands, I probably could live with it. But I would not consider Eli Tomac. Why? Because I thought that Eli Tomac blew any chance he had to be considered for the donations with the way he rode. And I'll discuss that in the 450 video. So thanks, guys. Remember, subscribe, and I'll see you all for my 450 recap soon.